Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. And today I'm going to be asking my spirit guides, whom I have a cadre of right here to my right, that are kind of specific and specialized political oriented spirit guides, which is a mouthful of words to say, to answer your political questions. Now, if you're new here, I am a channel and I'm channeling this message and these messages. I'm about 60% of me is replaced by whatever energy they're giving me. And 40% is Susan, who, let's just face it, sometimes argues and asks questions. But anyway, that's okay, right? We're all human. We're doing the best we can. Every day, we're just showing up in our little human meat suits and we're drinking our coffee because it's morning for me right now. And we're doing the best we can. So hats off to all of you guys doing the same thing. All right, here we go. Thank you so much for sending your questions. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Freda Stinger says, being a lifelong history reader and researcher, I'm very worried about the direction our country is going towards a fascist autocracy. Many states are passing the same kind of laws that Nazi Germany did to get the ball rolling on their genocide plan. We are on a very fast track towards this. Do you see this continuing? I fear it's gotten too far to stop. Well, first of all, I want to say to you that the Susan part of this partnership says yes. I think I'm really worried about this. Now, because you're a history person, I'm going to suggest that we all take a trip through history, because this is what the guides have done sort of to calm me down. And that is to say that Americans held a Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden in 1939. Americans held a Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden in 1939. Okay, look, maybe we're asking too much. Maybe we're asking too much of the American people. Perhaps we have all been brainwashed, right? We've all been brainwashed to think that America is apple pie, right? Listen, we are humans first and foremost. We can do human things like perhaps be racist or have anti-Semitism flowing through our veins, right? We're just a mixed match of human souls. Some of them ascended more than others. Now, what I would say is that's not a pass. Okay, that is not a pass to not learn from the past, for sure. But I've said this, the guides have said this many times, and that is that this energy is the same as it was in the 1930s. Talk to your fellow astrologers, whom I swear to God, I can't understand the language of astrology, but it sure does make sense when they put it in a very simple form for me to try to understand, which is a lot of the planets are aligned similarly right now as they were during this time in the United States during the 1930s, and perhaps maybe in the world. I don't know. I'll have another astrologer on to explain it to us all. But I just want to say energetically, I can read energy. That's what I do. Energetically, we are in the same energy as we were during the 1930s. Therefore, we are being presented with the same lessons that we were presented in the 1930s. Now, if you think about it like that, and you can kind of step out a little bit, you can see that this energy is for sure manifesting throughout our world, not just the United States, but throughout the world, in little ways and in bigger ways, and certainly within the country of Ukraine. God bless them. But I would also say that it just doesn't have the same energy. It's not this overwhelming wave of suppression that's going to take over and create a World War III. It's not that energy. The energy is much less strong. Now, it does mean that these individuals feel that energy, and those people, that their soul would tend towards authoritarianism or Nazism or whatever that is, or racism or misogyny. I mean, put it all in a basket. being against anybody who's not a certain color. We all know what color that is. And perhaps even a certain sex, and we all know what sex that is. So those souls that lean that direction are feeling emboldened by the energy. Therefore, they're taking steps. Now, this is indeed a wake-up call for the rest of us to say, oh, wait a minute. We don't want this. Now that, friends, is what you and I have been waiting on. We've been waiting on the rest of humanity to wake up and say, oh, snap. No, we don't want this. What the hell's going on, right? We don't want this. And that's the problem. So the problem perhaps isn't in the souls that are manifesting the energy that they've always wanted to manifest. But the problem is that the rest of us are not making a bigger deal out of it. Now, when I say that, I want you to understand that when I say the rest of us, I don't mean me or you, because you and me have worried enough about this to have 5 ulcers and to be depressed. And we've done a lot and we're exhausted. When I say the rest of us, I mean the rest of us. The rest of us. Now, you also have to take into account that we've gone through a pandemic, and there really is such a thing as pandemic shock, where people are just shocked. They're walking around in a daze. They've just survived something that their survival was not guaranteed. Think about it. Just think about that for a minute. We've all just survived something in which our survival was not guaranteed. Everybody's checked out. Everybody's like, I've worried enough. I can't do anything else. I'm not doing anything else. Everyone is checked out. Now, I also know astrologers unite in the comments and let us know what the HE002 pick is going on, because we don't know. And please, for the love of God, don't use square or trine or any of that BS. Just tell us what is going on for once. I'm sorry, a little frustrated. Okay. It's going to be okay, because whatever astrology is happening, I promise I've only had 1 cup of coffee. Whatever astrology is happening is going to give us a peek. The bad astrology planets, astrologers everywhere are literally like committing harikari from what I'm saying, but the energy is going to give us a peek this month, March. Ides of March, we just had it. Well, guess what? Just because the Ides of March came and went doesn't mean stuff didn't happen. It means stuff happened that you and I don't know about yet, right? So the energy is going to be prevalent this month to be accountable, to hold to account those that would do wrong against humanity. Do I need to repeat that again? Because I don't know what I just said. This month, there will be indictments. Period. End of story. We will start to wake up to what's going on, and we will do something about it. Okay? Now, the thing that you guys don't want to hear, 1-800 Spirit Guides, press number 1 for complaints, is that once the indictments, once those charges are filed, everybody gets their day in court, people. This is the United States of America still, even though some of it are pretending that it's not. Everybody gets their day in court. Those people get to lawyer up. Those people get to see, what do the feds have on me exactly? It's called discovery. That takes time. We want time. We don't want to live in this banana republic that the Republicans want us to have. We really want to live in the United States of America where everybody gets a fair trial. And to be honest with you, we want to enlarge that everybody gets a fair trial to everybody, not just some people, because a lot of people of other colors that are sitting in prisons right now without having had a fair trial. So we want more of this, not less. We don't want to rush this process. We want to make sure everybody has a chance at a fair trial. Therefore, we've got to put our money where our mouth is, and we got to let the biggest loser, crook, jerk. There's a few other words that actually had the word demonic in it. But anyway, get his fair trial. So that's why the guides have often said to you that the energy is going to open up in March and then it's going to close back down. That's not a bad thing. It means indictments fly, and it means now we all get to go to our corners and prepare for the actual court case, which will happen this fall. Okay? So now let's go to your specific question, since the guides have gone off on a ramble like they often do. We will get control of these states because, to be honest with you, it's not as satisfying is the word, satisfying, because what I see for these bigger players is that flipping of the table, of that turning of the tide, of that, they're giving me chills, of that justice, that sense of justice. Now, again, it might not be your justice, but it's going to be justice. Now, when we get back down to these states, which have been infiltrated truly by bad actors that do not and have never read the Constitution of the United States, unless to find ways, loopholes to exacerbate it and to turn it and demolish it and tear it up, because that's why they read the Constitution, is to figure out how they can get rid of it. Those people in your state houses. In my state house, I voted, I did everything I could. I want you guys to understand this. We know you did everything you could, and we know you still lost if you're in a red state. It doesn't mean we were sitting on the couch eating bonbons and let our state go to hell in a handbasket. We worked hard. We were gerrymandered. This didn't start last year, folks. This started in the 80s. In the 80s, look up Red Map. I've told you guys 1,000 times. I think it's Red Map. It's the Republican plan to take over the United States. It's published. You can see it. It's been studied by scholars. And they started it. And they started putting judges, federal judges that are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right-wingers, in judgeships. That's what Mitch McConnell dedicated his entire time in the last 15 to 20 years in the Senate to doing. This didn't happen overnight. We're battling something that's been creeping along under the cover of darkness for decades. So it's not going to be fixed overnight. It's just not. But I will say this. It took them decades to make it. It's not going to take us decades to unravel it and to expose it for what it is and to rout it out of our state houses. And you want to know why? Because these, getting spicy, these MFers are breaking laws. And this is what the guides told you. They said, we have to catch them breaking laws. We cannot just go put them in jail because they say they want to ban books, or you can't say gay, or you can't say racism. That's not a law. We can't put you in jail for that. Okay, we can't right now anyway. But can put you in jail for money laundering. Looking at you, Big D in Florida. Okay, we can put you in jail for pornography. We can put you in jail for laws on the books. And here's what I want to tell you. These people are drunk with power. They finally come out of their dark little hidey holes, and now they think they have the power. And now they're going to cash in their chips. They're going to cash in those power chips, and they're going to get all high and mighty and start making mistakes. They're going to make mistakes in the laws that they're breaking. And we know they're breaking laws because powerful people feel like laws don't apply to them. Right? So that's how we're going to overcome this. And I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know who is here today, but they're bringing it. Jeez Louise, y'all. That was some energy. I'm not going to tell them to leave. I'm going to pull up a chair. I don't know. Somebody's smoking a cigar. No, it's a cigarette. It's Edward R. Murrow. It's going to be okay. He's not going to make me. We got a filter going. Edward R. Murrow is one of my guides, but that wasn't Edward R. Murrow. Edward R. Murrow is like the line referee. He's saying he's the line referee in tennis. He decides this was a foul. This was in the line. So he's basically there to keep me on track and to tell me Perhaps, Susan, your ego's involved in this message. Dial it back a bit, babe. He just called me babe. Okay, that is definitely not. That is not a 2023 thing, honey. We don't, I just called him honey back. I'm going to stop this diatribe right now. Okay, I'm not getting into it right now. I'm trying to be doing this, trying to be doing my work. I don't know what's going on today, y'all. Is it a full moon? I don't think so. All right. Woo, Lord of mercy. Thank you for your question, Freda. That was a 10-minute answer, and I'm really sorry for those of you that want the short answers. Okay, another big, long question. If you guys ask big picture questions, you have to get big picture answers. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, I could say yes or no, but then you wouldn't understand why I'm saying yes or no. And frankly, when my guides tell me just no, it irritates me. Okay, Beth Mullen says, thank you for your question. Republicans have been undermining the education system for a long time, but DeSantis has taken things to a new level. Literally whitewashing history and removing anything to do with race and our actual history. Now publishers are literally changing the textbooks in line with this. Please ask your guides about this. So did you guys know that they're telling me the two biggest buyers of textbooks are California and Texas? So as Texas goes, typically the publishers go. And now we have Florida, obviously, throwing their hat in the ring to be an influencer. I want to share, I'm going to share with you something on the screen, because when I saw this, something really important clicked for me. Something that I've been trying to figure out that I have not been able to figure out. Now, on one hand, we know, or at least if you've been watching me for a long time, we know that kids, folks, are going to change everything, not only here in the States, but everywhere, because kids these days a lot of them are star seeds. They're new to these parts. They haven't been in a human body thousands of times. This may be their 10th time here on Earth, or their 5th time here on Earth. I myself have been told through my Akashic records that I have only been here a handful of times. It makes us different. It makes us different. Now, these kids are coming here with psychic abilities. You guys know this, you parents know this, and they're coming here without the hate or predisposition to anything other than them. So they don't care if you're trans. And they're happy to sort of flirt with that gender role and am I or aren't I? And it's not a big deal to them. It's not. Right? And being of a different color is not a big deal to them. Being of a different culture is not a big deal to them. They just can't get upset about it. Now, the thing that I want to tell you, now that's important in and of itself, right? I mean, that's a big deal. As a matter of fact, you could say that that's a game changer. You could say that within 10 to 15 years, those kids are going to be in position, and 10 or 15, obviously, if they're 10 to 15 years old, but, certainly within 30 to 40 years, but quite honestly, as soon as 10 years. Well, they're saying, quite honestly, as soon as now, because these kids, we have the kids like, David Hogg, I think his name is, who was a survivor of one of the school shootings, who's getting his degree and who is very active and has a not-for-profit group that really is making waves in this area. So here's one already doing the work. But you can say that as these kids go through our school systems and learn or don't learn what they do, their genetic DNA energy makeup is different. And you can tell them all day long not to say gay. And you can tell them all day long that Black people, that, don't say Black, or there's no racism. I mean, you can tell them that all day long. They're not going to listen to you. Case in point, let me share a very quick story about myself, because I'm a starseed. I parachuted, plopped down into my family. God bless them all. Product of their times, you might say, I guess, if I had to make an excuse for them. Freaking racist. I never understood that. It made me mad. So here I am in a family that doesn't fit me. And I changed them because I wouldn't allow it. Even at a before school age, I was telling them to knock it off. I really was. When I got into school, I told them to knock it off. And then when busing happened, of course, they moved heaven and earth to put me in a white school, a school that would be mostly white. However, where I was looped into this primarily, probably majority Black school. Guess what I did? I went to the majority Black school. It was at least, I would say, 75% Black. We didn't have Hispanics in Louisville at the time. So I changed my family. I promise you, my dad, I beat that man down until he finally gave up. By the time he was, in his 60s, he knew better than to say anything racist around me, because he would get a 45-minute talking to about, it was on, right? All my Virgo would come out and I would just nail him to the wall with facts and figures. God bless his little Gemini soul. He just wanted to run out the back door. So anyway, the kids are going to make it all right. Now, I will tell you the thing that clicked. Long-winded, I know. I'm sorry if you're here. You're here. What can I say? The thing that clicked is, and I'm going to put it on the screen. The thing that clicked is that DeSantis is changing the way we report or teach history in the school books to say that she didn't move to the back of the bus because she was Black and she wasn't allowed in that seat. She moved to the back of the bus because it was a better seat for her. So they're whitewashing, literally, just like Beth says, whitewashing the history. But do you think these kids are going to fall for that, y'all? Honestly, these kids aren't reading books. They're on TikTok. They're on YouTube. God only knows what they're going to be on in 5 years. They're probably going to be hologramming across the country and visiting each other in each other's living rooms. A textbook is a joke. If we don't get with the program, these kids are going to learn whatever they learn on their own, and it's going to be propelled by the fact that they don't see color. Now, of course, some kids in some states, in some parts of some states, are not going to be starseeds. Not everybody's a starseed. So we're still going to have that tension, okay? Because the tension is why we're here. Duality. That is why we're here on Earth. Earth is a duality-based planet. There's good and bad, yes and no, black and white, up and down. Okay, so there's always going to be that tension. But we're not supposed to overcome the tension. That's when we get out of balance. We've talked about this a lot, right? If you use the scales analogy, again, this is what we're going through right now. The balance is supposed to be within some percentage point or whatever the heck they use up there. I don't know. Scale is supposed to be, out of balance is okay, because that means we're learning, right? But when it gets out of balance, that it's just that no one is learning anything, then the spirit guides put their size 14 boots, we've talked about this a lot, on the scale, and they even it out a little bit. If you want balance, if you want nirvana, I would suggest that when you cross over, you check a different box. Because this isn't the box to check. This is the box where I'm going to go down there and I'm going to experience loss, and I'm going to experience pain, and I'm going to experience joy, and I'm going to experience passion. I'm going to experience it all because I want to experience everything. Give it all to me, so that my soul can know all of that. Because when I cross over, my soul is going to be bigger and brighter and more ascended, because I chose to experience this. Okay? Whew, I have no idea what I just said, y'all. What is the hell going on over here? Somebody needs to check full moon status. Okay. My computer's frozen. Of course it is, because when I get like this, everything starts like going crazy. Okay, I don't know, Beth. I'm channeling. I have no idea what I just said. I hope it answered your question. Thank you for your question. Ron Brock says, now let's please, for the love of God, I ask them every time before I do these, I say, please, can you be brevity? Can we have brevity? Can we have brevity? Okay. Ron Brock says, do I see Fanni Willis going ahead with her charges in spite of the Georgia law to stop her? Okay, that was too, that caused some dissonance in my energy for many reasons. Okay, I can't answer that question the way it's written. Okay, I got to rewrite it because they say they can't answer it the way it's written. Okay, do I see Fanni Willis going ahead? Yes. Okay, let me make sure. Do I see Fanni Willis going ahead? Yes. Yes. The answer is yes. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to leave off this Georgia law stuff because I don't think the Georgia law is, they don't want to talk about it. I don't know why. I was just reading about it, and it turns out the Democrats tried to pass a law, honestly, that did a lot of what the Republicans are trying to do now. The Republicans just added some sneakier stuff to it so that they could very quickly remove someone. I'm just going to stay with Fanni Willis for a minute because she's fascinating. Plus, she's just so strong. I don't know what is going on in her solar plexus or whatever this area is. Like her whole chest area is like, oh, it's strong. And they're telling me she's brilliant. So she's not just like a brute force, right? I mean, that would be, I'm good with brute force. I don't know about you, but brute force sounds good to me. But she's brute force with a strategist mind. So it's like, but right now she's a little out of balance. She's a little out of balance. Her brute force wants to go forward, wants to crush the opponent, but her strategist mind is saying, no, wait. She's waiting for something to align. You know what she's waiting for? She's waiting for, I mean, she has everything she needs, okay? For a normal prosecutor, they said, for a normal prosecutor, she has everything she needs, but she's not normal. So there's something that's going to get unlocked. It's like a connection to someone else that she hasn't been able to make. So if this is the bolus of her investigation, there's a connection over here to this other entity, person, energy, whatever you want to call it. And that is coming to her. If you just wait. I'm laughing because they said, if you just wait, the prey will stupidly. Okay, maybe stupid was Susan's word. Innocently, or the prey doesn't know. Okay. And there's an element of surprise. There's an element of, if she waits, she can get the final piece to the puzzle, and then she will feel complete. So that's what's happening when you guys read Fanni Willis and people are like, she's in a holding. I think somebody said she's in a holding pattern. That's what's happening. Her energy here, she just wants to crush them, literally crush them. But her brain is like, no. So that's why we're feeling this kind of, she's at odds within her own body. I think she's going to wait, and she's going to get this last piece of the puzzle. It could have something to do with the other investigations that are happening, that she, within the purview of her investigation, she doesn't have the rights, quote unquote, to go after this person. But when I'm hearing Bragg, when Bragg goes after this person during discovery or during something, the information comes out that then connects to her, and then she can get the information. Does that make sense? Okay. This energy is for real, y'all. Who will be the first to indict Trump, Fanni Willis or Alvin Bragg? I don't know. I've been asking that same question. Right now, today is the 17th of March, 2023. I get Fanni Willis is going to be the first. But Bragg has to unlock something. I just heard McLean, but I think it's McLean. And is there a McLean Air Force Base, or is there a McLean? I think I'm seeing McLean AFB? Is there a McLean? I don't know. Perhaps it has something to do with that. Maybe it has something to do with somebody who worked there. Maybe there's somebody who's going to be deposed who worked there, or there's a connection to it. This may not even be public. It could be top secret. Virginia, is that in Virginia? I'm also hearing Virginia is important. But anyway, that answers your question, right? I think it does. Yes, they're telling me it answers your question. Okay. And if it doesn't, it's going to be good enough. All right. Now, thank you so much. And Robert Mason Jr., I did see your question last time. I ran out of time. There's 99 questions right now today. And I can't get to everybody's questions, but I moved your question to the top because you were at the bottom again. I moved you to the top because I want to address this question. And I want to say that I shared with you that I'm a starseed and that anything having to do with racism punches my buttons. But I would also share to you that I had a past life as a Black man. So add that to the mix. And I'm telling you, if you knew me personally and you were a friend of mine, you would know that you have experienced this, that if somebody says something racist in my car, I will pull over and exit you. And this was before Uber. Okay. This was before cell phones. So I'm just going to preface this by saying it's a button. It pushes my buttons. Okay. And you guys probably know that if you've watched me a long time. Robert Mason's question is, will African Americans receive reparations soon? Robert, I appreciate your positivity. I really do. I appreciate your tenacity. I really do. Because you used a couple of words that probably should be separated. First of all, will African Americans ever receive reparations? That's your question. But you had the tenacity and the positivity to add soon to that sentence. And I'm going to dial myself back because I'm telling you, I could go on a 30-minute tirade. Wouldn't it be a beginning? The very first thing that we need to do is stop shooting them. I mean, you're asking for reparations, but yet they can't even get justice. Wouldn't the first step be to just get simple justice? Shouldn't we start there? Let's just start with treating everybody like they're all equal. Let's start with the people who are living right now, and let's just start with justice. Okay. Now, once we start with justice, and we get that to say maybe closer to like 95%, which is okay. All right. 80%. Let's say we get 80% justice. I mean, what right now, I mean, they're saying it's probably about 20%. And that's what the guides are telling me. But we need to start with justice. Once we get to justice, once these starseed kids get some kind of voting age, you're going to see this start to even out. And then I think that the next thing they want to talk about is truth in lending. They want to talk about how African Americans should be able to get a house, should be able to rent a place. Look, I'll talk to you from personal experience. I have a friend that's a realtor, and she saw it many, many times where she had representing, and she's a white lady, and she's representing an African American person who more than qualifies for the rental, but the rental on the other side, the agent on the other side that's renting out the place blocked it and blocked it and blocked it and blocked it. Okay, this is still happening. So we got work to do before we can even get to reparations. To me, that is reparations. Let's fix this. Now, once we fix this and we get to some point where we have 80% of justice, of equality, then the energy and the environment is going to be right for reparations. But there's not just reparations for them. There's reparations for Asian Americans that were locked up, that were in concentration camps. There should be reparations for all the people that went through MK Ultra. Look up MK Ultra, where the CIA did mind control experiments. It's public. Look it up. MK Ultra. Those people's lives were ruined and they were just thrown out. Actually, this was in Canada, but it was sponsored also by the United States CIA. There's lots of people that need reparations. And a lot of that has to do with justice. And yes, I do see it coming, but it's not anytime soon. We've got so much work to do before we can get there. I wish I could tell you something different, and I hope I'm wrong. I truly hope that I'm wrong. I hope we can do reparations next year, next month, tomorrow. That's how I feel about it. Thank you, Robert. Okay, let's move on. Serena Everett says, any update on abortion rights? Well, this is probably, well, let's just say before I bring my own opinion in here. I don't know how you can see how I'm sitting. I'm sitting in a protective pose. The words the guides are using is that they've run amok, they have too much power, and they've run amok. And I guess what they're saying is this local, okay, I see, this local state house is passing laws. Okay, they want to tell you that every action begets another action. So cause and effect. Okay, if you don't notice, but I'm punching. Okay, cause, effect. These kids, once again, it's going to be left up to the kids. You take away their abortion rights, you make these crazy laws where people can be executed. I mean, it's just crazy, right? These kids are going to start protesting and getting in the streets. Now, what I think is going to save us, because it is the energy is one of being saved at the last minute, to be honest with you. And that is that, and this applies to a lot of things. We are going to have indictments. We are going to charge these people. People, when I say people, let me clarify people. Congress members, United States representatives, United States senators are going to get charged, are going to be removed from office. I know we keep telling you this. If you're tired of hearing it, click the video off. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Go garden, go paint something, punch a pillow. I get it. I'm just as irritated as you are. But it is going to happen. And I will do another video where I'm going to show you how all the energy is really starting to ramp up. It's there. It's there for you to see if you care to see it. Okay? But these people are going to get indicted, charged, removed from office. Then we're going to have a change in the Congress, the congressional seating, the R's and the D's is going to shuffle. We're going to end up with more D's. I'm not telling you it's a big wave. I'm telling you we might get 3 seats, but it's going to be enough. And the shock and awe of what Trump did is going to be enough. And here I'm going to put something that's going to tell you that, because I believe it's 2 of the grand jurors in Georgia have said it's going to break America open. What they heard in the testimony in the secret grand jury is going to break America open. And one person said, we will not be divided after we hear this. Okay? Flipping the table. When that happens, we're going to have congressional, cross the aisle, working together, and then we're going to pass legislation that's going to bring back Roe v. Wade. It's going to bring back health matters for women. It's going to bring back reasonable abortion standards. It's going to take care of the Voting Act. It's going to get passed. We're going to take care of the abortion. We're going to take care of this silliness that these people in the state houses are doing. And as I said earlier, these MFers, and this is what they want to call them every single time, are breaking laws, and they're going to get busted too. We're going into an era called the law and order era. And that era is going to be governed, presided over by Kamala Harris. There's about a 5% or less, 4% is what they're saying, chance that this doesn't happen. 96% chance it does happen. That Kamala Harris becomes president at some point, and she will preside over America during a time of law and order, which means that she will put everybody, she doesn't care. The laws will be followed. It doesn't matter if you're an R or a D, or you're a lefty or a righty. There will be a line that's drawn. There will be no exceptions. Okay. So that's how this is going to happen. That's how this is all going. This is how we're going to get our country back. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. But I would say to you, it hasn't been easy and it hasn't been fun anyway. Again, if you want to live in nirvana, when you check out, check a different box. Don't come back here because this is school. But we're getting better every time. We don't have the Holocaust, folks. We have Nazi energy, but we don't have the Holocaust. I would say that's a win, right? We're getting better every time. We don't have Nazis forming in Washington Square, whatever I said earlier. It's better than it was. And it'll get better the next time you come back. It'll get better the next time you come back. The problem is we don't remember how bad it was. So open up a history book, look up these things, look up these terrible things that happened in the past, and then compare it to what's happening now. It's better. We're getting somewhere. It's just still not where we want to be. So we feel out of alignment, you know? Okay, let's just move on. Woo, y'all bringing it today. And the next question is, Cynthia Price wants me to read Leonard Leo energy. I woke up hearing Leonard Leo's name last week. Never something you want to do. 2 stars, would not recommend. Bottom line with Leonard Leo, this is for entertainment purposes only. This is for entertainment purposes only, and allegedly. He wants to destroy the world. And so does Peter Thiel. These people, and all of them, I don't mean to just pull those 2 out of the hat because it's Trump, it's Putin, it's all of them. They want a new world order. They want an oligarchy. They want, and they don't want to, at least at this point in their thinking, this probably would change if they had what they wanted, because we all know that power, absolute power, leads to, you know, absolute power. But right now, what they want is America to become back in the 50s when everybody knows their place. The white people have their place. The black people have their place. The Asians have their place. The Native Americans have this. Everybody's relegated to a little scrap of paper, and the white people have the biggest piece, and they control everything. And, you know, you people in Europe need to stay over there. You people in China need to stay over there. You Hispanic or Latino people need to stay there. Everybody knows their place. And in as much as I need to deal with you, I will send an ambassador to deal with you for trade or whatnot. Right? That's what they want, you guys. They just want to go back to, you know, probably 1880 or 1850. That's really what they want to go back to. It's just when white men were king of the United States and everybody else was second, third, fourth, fifth rate. It's the same energy. It's just the Civil War energy. We're also aligned with Civil War energy astrologically. So this wasn't the pandemic sort of like a civil war in a sense that brother against brother, wife against husband. Didn't Trump elicit the same energies where families were broken apart? Isn't that what happened during the Civil War? If you take away the states and the slavery part, and you just go to the energy, which was brother against brother, brother against father, husband against wife. We're living it. We're living it. Except for we didn't go to war with each other. Again, same energy, better outcome. Okay, so that's kind of how we're going forward. You can look at the history and you can see how it's repeating. Okay, let's move on. If I can get my computer to do it. I don't know. It doesn't want to do it. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 more questions. Betty Max says, I'm concerned over Biden approving drilling in Alaska for oil. He seems to be so conscientious about going green. What do your guides say? Will he be as careful as possible? Again, I'm probably going to tell you guys something you don't want to hear. Biden is first and foremost a pragmatist. His first and foremost what is the word they're using? His duty is to the American people. Okay. Now, we live in a different world right now, one in which we can't count on China, and we certainly can't count on Russia. And climate change is happening dramatically. So these are the problems that he has to work with. We need resources. We are not, no matter what you guys think, we're not green in America. We are consuming oil just as much as we ever did, if not more. And we're billowing out toxic chemicals into the air, just like usual. These things are going to take longer than we have to solve. Bottom line. Because in the past, let's say during Obama, we could get these resources from other countries. We can no longer count on that. We have got to get these resources from our own country. That is Biden's problem. If we had to go to war, we need to have the resources to do so. And we don't. We can't be certain that we can get these resources. We don't know who our friends are anymore. Is Brazil, is Venezuela, are they our friends? Is China really our friend? We certainly know Russia is not our friend. Who can we count on to get resources? And if we have a valuable resource within the continental United States, Biden has to consider it. I know that's not, I hear you screaming at me, and go right ahead and scream. Scream all you want. Doesn't change anything, does it? The bottom line, folks, is we have to have resources. Nobody, I'm going to go on a limb here and say, did any of you watching this video want and literally pay with their allowance, all of their allowance, to join Earth First? Did you? When you were 12, 14, did you join Earth First? Raise your hand. Do you know what Earth First was? They chained themselves to redwoods. Earth First was radical. They made the Sierra Club look like grandmas knitting little beanie caps in their basements. I joined Earth First as a 12-year-old. I was a tree in a past life. Okay? Nobody loves trees more than me. But this is the hard effing truth of the matter. Biden is in a no-win situation. He has to protect his people. He has to protect the citizens of the United States. And we are at risk. We could be at war at any time. North Korea, China, Russia. I'm not saying we're going to war. And if you guys are going to see this, it scares me. I'm tired of that. I'm really tired of it. This is the truth. If you guys want to watch me, I don't care if I have one viewer. I'm going to get on here. I'm going to tell you the effing truth. The effing truth is Biden might have to do something that upsets even me. He has to find resources. We have to be protected. This is an unprecedented time. We don't know who our friends are anymore. So that is what he's thinking. When I go into his energy, it's going to hurt him in the depths of his soul if he has to drill, if he has to allow drilling in that place. It's going to hurt him to the depths of his soul. But he doesn't have a good option here. Now, if he does do it, I can promise you that Buttigieg and him and the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Interior are going to lay down some laws like you've never seen, some regulations like you've never seen. And then what you're likely to see is people like, the oil industry saying, oh, we can't drill there. It's too hard. Biden has made it too hard. So you might see something like that where Biden says, yeah, you can do it, but you're going to have to follow these regulations. Now, the problem is they're telling me is Trump loosened all the regulations. And for us to have new regulations, it's not like, Biden's hands are tied in some respects. Again, he's in a no-win situation. He may have to drill there. But if he does, it's because of being strategic. If something happens and we feel threatened, it's going to be too late at that point to go over there and start getting resources. So he's thinking in advance. He's trying to help us in the future. Now, what can we do? What can you and I do? Well, we can stop driving, right? And yeah, people want to say that electric cars are terrible. They are terrible, but they're better than oil. We need to all take small steps. And in that way, we will take bigger steps. And in that way, we'll take bigger steps. And what we can really do is get involved in our local state houses, because that's where the problem is. If we can start, these people are grooming. I don't know who this guide is, but he just called him. I don't know if I can say this on YouTube or not. I'll probably bleep myself, but Jack, well, I'll let you come up with the rest of it. It's an animal, a Jack donkey ass, grooming these people who then get their state citizens to vote for crazy people for president. The real problem is India, is who the guides want to say. Our real problem is India. They are the biggest abuser of this. And how do we affect India? Well, we keep getting Democratic presidents that keep us in the climate accord. America stepped out of the Paris Accord, I think it is. They can't do it without us. We need to keep having Democratic presidents. So even if Biden lets you down in drills in Alaska, that's why he did it. If you're still watching, I haven't made you mad, you haven't thrown something at the computer screen or thrown your phone against the wall, good. Glad to hear it. I think I'm going to end it there on Betty Max. Thank you for watching. This energy has been insanely strong. I am going to do part 2. There's some really interesting questions, like super interesting questions. So please keep your eye out for part 2. Part 2 will likely, I don't even know what day it is. I think it's Friday. It is Friday. Part 2 will probably come out on Sunday. So keep your eyes peeled. Thank you so much for the questions that you've given me. I hope it's helped you. I hope it's answered your questions. I hope it's made you think big picture, because that's how we need to be thinking right now. And take really, really, really good care of yourself. Okay. We're going to get through this. The bottom line is, no matter what you heard, if you heard something that made you be scared, I don't see World War III. I don't see us running out of food and having food shortages. All this stuff is fear narrative. It's all fear narrative. If you buy into the fear narrative, I can't help you, because that's not it. What I said was, out of a preponderance of caution, given an uncertain world, Biden may have to drill in that so that we have reserves, so that if we need that oil, it's there for us. We have a way to tap into it. If something crazy happens, we're going to be behind the 8 ball in getting resources. That's what he's thinking. It's not World War III. If you guys read fear-mongering into what I'm telling you, frankly, that's you. It's not me. I'm not saying that. Please don't read that into what the guides are saying. The guides are unemotional. They report it with an unemotional message. We add the emotion, the fear, the anger, the happiness, the joy. That's humans. And that's our filter. How does this message come in? Through our filter. What is our filter? Is the glass half full or the glass half empty? And honestly, if you grew up in a family where strife and drama was the set point, then you have a filter that's anxious. So I get it. Whatever information comes through your filter goes through the anxiety filter, because in the past, most everything that happened to you caused you anxiety. Even joy caused you anxiety. I get it. I've been there. I have that filter. I get you. But we have to change it. We have to work on ourselves, because these people know that about us. They know if they push that anxiety, fear button over and over and over again, they're going to get a reaction. That's how they turned all the Trumpers into their private zombie psychotic party, into their private army. It's the same thing. But on our side, on the opposite side of the Trumpers, what that does is it makes us ineffectual. It makes us so tired and scared and anxious that we don't do anything. So guess what? They win. They win if that happens. On one side, you got people doing your bidding without even thinking about it. And on the other side, you got people who are so anxious that they become ill and they can't do anything. Divide and conquer. So for our side, please take good care of your mental health. Take good care of your physical health. Okay? It's important. Know that we are in better shape than we were before. It isn't manifesting the same. We don't have the Holocaust, even though we do have injustices, even though we have racial profiling and shootings and terrible things happening. It's not as bad. It's just not as bad. So give gratitude that it's not as bad. And let's work on lifting up everybody. Let's work on lifting up the police officers. Let's work on lifting up those in Ukraine. Let's work on lifting up our elected officials. Let's work on lifting up Fanni Willis and give her strength. Let's work on lifting up Bragg and Smith and Garland and Biden. Let's spend time in gratitude, in joy. Let's invite that into our energy stream. Let's allow that to be our set point. Let's acknowledge that work needs to be done. And let's acknowledge that things aren't great. But let's look for the good. And let's be the good. Right? Let's look for the good. Let's be the good. And in that way, we can help spirit right size this out of balance energy. We can do our part. Okay? But it starts here. It starts in you. If you do good for somebody and you're not doing good for yourself, the good that you do for them is not as strong. It doesn't have the same energy component. If you have a full tank of goodness, of happiness, and I'm not saying we're always happy. I'm just saying, if you take better care of yourself, even if it's a little bit, when you give to others, there's more energy involved in that giving. So they get a little more. If you're running on empty, you're really giving people scraps. You're giving people the dregs of your energy. So it's important, even if you have to let somebody down, to say, I got to take care of myself. I would help you, but my tank is empty. And I think if you tell people that, they get it. My tank is empty. I'm sorry. I've got to refill my tank first. Perhaps there's someone else that can help you. Who's going to be mad at that statement? Right? And if they are, we might suggest to you that they're abusing your kindness. Right? And that's something to think about. Take really good care of yourselves. See you again in a couple days.